Hello. Thanks for calling Low Value Mail.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. This is Kirk.
Hey,
I got a conspiracy theory for you.
nice, Kirk. Let's hear it.
So this is a little bit of a deep cut. I grew up Mormon. You know much about Mormons?
I know a little bit. So you're from like Utah? Are they
No,
all?
I'm
Are they
not.
not all in Utah or near Utah?
No, I'm in San Diego.
San Diego. So no, I know a little. Mormons is what, Joseph Smith?
Yeah, Joseph Smith starts a church in New York and then moves a whole group of people across the country.
Right. Someone who was I talking? Oh no, I just did this podcast with Chris O'Connor and Tommy Pope, the Stuff Island, and I didn't realize it, but I guess they were polygamous, and then the government was like, we're literally sending the army in if you don't stop, and then they're like, yeah, I spoke to God and he said we're not polygamous anymore.
Yeah, it's funny how God backs down just at the right time.
Just at the right time. So yeah, okay.
But all of that stuff, that's all common knowledge, right? So this is the real deep cut about Mormons. So Joseph Smith was all into visionary, both philosophy and also, it turns out, medicine. He and his family
like mushrooms
grew. Yeah, so he grew like ginseng, and he would go to and trade it with Native Americans, and they would give him mushrooms, and he learned about peyote and stuff.
Okay.
And so this guy did a study, because one of the weird things about Mormonism is all these people wrote about their early meetings at Mormon churches, and they all did have visions. And so the theory is that Joseph Smith was dosing everybody at his congregations. He'd have these huge sacraments, and afterwards everybody would have visions. And this guy did a paper where if you track the kinds of visions that people had and wrote about in their journals, they matched the psychedelic plant of whatever part of the country they were in.
Oh, that time. I definitely believe. The psychedelic use and in sort of like all the religion stuff, like you're like, that just makes total sense. That everybody was just on mushrooms or whatever, like some sort of psychedelic drug.
So they start out with mushrooms in the East, and then when they get kind of into the middle of America, there's this psychedelic called Datura it's like the screaming banshee of like psychedelics. It just like makes you lose your mind.
Okay.
And there's this really famous thing in Mormonism called the dedication of the Kirtland Temple. And they built a temple in Kirtland, Ohio. And when everybody was in there, like things just went insane. They said angels were swooping through, like blowing trumpets in people's faces. And the theory is that Joseph, for the first time, dosed his congregation with Datura, and it was way more than anyone was expecting.
And this was I'm looking up, this was in 1836 that this happened, which mushrooms must have hit way different in the 1800s.
Yeah.
But this isn't even mushrooms.
Well, it started off as mushrooms because like Amanita muscaria mushrooms were all around up where he started off. And then there's also periods where it looked like he was using peyote on them. So I don't know. And then it's funny because then Joseph Smith gets murdered, and then all of a sudden all the visions stop.
Yeah, they lost the plug.
Everybody's like, dude, this church used to be way more fun. Like, it's gone downhill.
The plug died. And,
anyway, I thought that was
does Mormon because I imagine there's some sort of Mormon art or like some sort of, from the time, is it psychedelic in nature at all? Like how you would see like, Mayan and stuff where you're like, clearly they were just hallucinating on psychedelics and they were just drawing.
Mormon art is basically like pioneer, boring time stuff. Right. They're pretty drab. Some of the religious philosophy that Joseph Smith gets into is like straight up like esoterica. Like he stole the entire temple ceremony from the Masons. Like he got to be a 5th level Mason and then took their temple ceremony, which the Masons never forgave the Mormons for.
They still have beef?
Yeah, they're still pissed about it. And Mormons still do the exact same Mason temple ceremony in the temples where people aren't allowed to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a font of Mormon bullshit.
Are you still a Mormon or no?
No, I made it all the way and did my mission, but that was back in like 2000, and so I've been out for just a little over 20 years.
Gotcha. And do you get kind of like excommunicated if you leave?
They only excommunicate you if you're like somewhat of an importance or of some consequence. So nobody's given a shit about me yet.
Oh,
but
that's good. So you don't like lose your whole family and shit.
no, actually, my family's way cool.
Nice.
I found Mormon families tend to be pretty cool with the black sheep. They're not bad people.
Yeah.
Just
From my experience, they're not bad people at all. I actually tend to like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, man. Great show.
All right. Thanks. Bye.